Welcome my friend, Seven Gray here. Thank you for joining me for this episode today. Today I want to talk about my early stages of planning for the floor plan, the layout inside of my cargo trailer, which you can see over here in the background. I'll link an episode above where I purchased a cargo trailer recently and drove up to Georgia for that. This is a renowned cargo trailer and it is built by Rock Solid. So they are the sponsors of this video. Let me roll the intro and let's get into it. This video is sponsored by Renowned Cargo Trailers. This cargo trailer is big. It's really big. It's 26 feet from the back door all the way up here to the front, plus the tongue, and it has an extended tongue on it. The height, interior height on it, is an 8.5 foot ceiling inside, plus about another 14 inches, which pushes it up to almost 10 feet above ground out here. And then it is 8.5 feet wide, which is the widest you can go legally and tow on the road. I've purchased a few upgrades. This very fancy, cool lock, which is specifically for cargo doors. So you can see this is like a hockey puck kind of a thing. This is pretty cool. I'll put a link down below to an Amazon affiliate link if you're interested in this, but this is really a hefty duty and very, very heavy lock. I purchased a lock for the wheels here that you can see it actually clamps around the wheel, sort of grabs the actual tire itself so that it can't spin. And up front here on the tongue I purchased another lock, and this goes in the ball hitch area. It sort of blocks underneath the ball hitch so that you can't get it onto a vehicle. So the thought is that I've got 3 locks on this, 2 that are locking the vehicle from being moved, plus the locks to the interior. So that's pretty secure. I may be adding more in the future and may even add a security system at some point in time. Several of you ask why I went with a ramp for the back of the cargo trailer rather than swing doors. Swing doors are favorable for box truck builds, step van builds, for most builds in general. So why in the world go with a ramp if I'm not planning on running ATVs or motorcycles into the back of it? My idea is to elevate this ramp to where it's perfectly level and put some jacks under this end over here and waterproof this and make it into a full-time patio deck. I first saw this idea probably 10 years ago on a toy hauler that had actual railing around it, some mosquito netting, and it became an outdoor patio extension to the interior. So I'm borrowing that idea that somebody's thought of before for my cargo trailer to make a patio deck, and then inside of the fold-down cargo door I will actually have a wall of glass with probably a slider door or something like that to provide weather insulation to the inside, and that this ramp will be down full time when I'm parked and living in the space, and then the rest of the time when I drive I can fold up the door and protect the glass wall and the interior. I just love this space inside. This is really great. It's actually almost the same dimensions inside the box as my step van, maybe slightly larger, and it feels bigger because in the step van you're including the cab and it doesn't quite include the nose. My step van is 26 feet from bumper to bumper, so you lose the nose space of the hood, and probably the interior space is actually closer to maybe 22 feet or something like that. It's 18 feet of cargo space plus the driver's area, so a lot of that is not really usable. Let's start at the back here near the back ramp. So I will have a inset wall. It will be inset about 1 foot. It's not a huge amount of space, but that's enough to be able to put things like firewood stacked vertically, tools that I would need like shovels or rakes or poles or anything like that, a shoe rack, muddy shoes, things like that can be stored in this narrow area. It's like a miniature garage space in a way. And I'll have an additional garage space over the tongue in the front, which I'll be building later. It's more like a workshop area that I'll be putting into that area. So here, inset about 1 foot, will be the false wall that will come along the back area. The first space you'll come to entering from the back is the living room. It'll be probably about 6 feet wide enough for a standard couch. The couch will be on the wall behind me, which is the driver's side wall, and on the passenger side wall, the opposite wall, will be a bank of windows. So there's going to be a whole bunch of windows in this. I'll be cutting holes in the side. I'm going to be working with rock solid cargo as well as renowned cargo trailers for the build, and so I don't compromise the integrity. They've got my back, the tech support over there, the technical people that are involved in the build and the construction, so I've got them helping me out with that particular aspect. I will also have a full home theater here with surround sound, a flat screen TV. That's something that I gave up 10 years ago when I started nomadic living, and I look forward to having in this cargo trailer tiny house build. Next, in the area over the wheel wells right here will be the kitchen space. So I'm going to put the water tank, all of the heavy items just barely over the wheel wells, slightly forward, so that that weight is right on the wheel wells and a little bit forward of that point to reduce the amount of sway. This also makes a great point because there's cabinets that can hide the wheel wells that will be used in the kitchen area. I'm planning on having an upright refrigerator that runs off 120 volts, and I have a super efficient inverter that I'm going to be using to power that, and a lot of extra solar power going into this build. I'll have an upcoming episode dealing specifically with the electric build out, both the planning stages now as well as when I build it part by part and piece by piece, so you can see exactly how I go about that. After the kitchen space will be a small bathroom about 3 feet wide, and I will have a full-time shower there that's a dedicated shower, not a wet shower. And then I'll have a Nature's Head composting toilet and a sink and some cabinetry. And on the opposite side over here behind me, which is the passenger side of the cargo trailer, I will have a utility room power grid area, which will be all of the lithium batteries, solar charge controllers, access points up through the ceiling, up to the solar panels, which will be mounted on the roof. Speaking of electric, I'll give you just some of the basics right now, a little bit of a teaser. It'll be a little bit over 2 kilowatts of solar panels up on the roof, and then it will be around the equivalent of 400 amp hours of lithium batteries. I am looking at a 24 volt system, so when you're looking at 24 volt, that turns out to be 200 amp hours. But for those of you who think in the terms of 12 volt, think of 4 Battleborn batteries, that kind of setup. Not going with Battleborn. You'll get to see in a future episode what I do for my lithium battery build. And the very last component, which will be the nose, the front end of the cargo trailer, will be a bedroom area with a queen size memory foam mattress. So this will be sort of the darker area, and then there is an access door here to the outside. And so I'm really looking forward to having a full-time bedroom to be able to go into, having a dedicated real bathroom with a shower, and then having the living room with a surround sound stereo system and all the windows. So those are the basic plans. I'm not locking anything into specific inches or centimeters for the dimensions right now. I want to move in here. I've already purchased a mattress. I'll put it on the floor and get a feel for the space before committing to construction on anything. So what are you going to see in the next few episodes? Probably going to be focusing on 2 things, which are insulation and electronics. I want to get the power up as soon as possible so that I have power to run internet, to run refrigerator, and to run all of my power tools and things like that, which will enable me to move off-grid very soon. The other item I'm looking at is insulating, specifically looking at the floor. That way I don't have to be moving components around. If I can get both of these completed before I leave Florida, where I'm at now, that would be ideal to do it while the trailer is empty before I have to load it. So that's what's on the near horizon. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. We're able to get a few answers to some of the questions that I've seen in the comments before about things like, why am I going with a ramp? What is the length of the cargo trailer? And what are some of my basic plans? Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Savor the moment, and I'll see you in a future video.